By the final months of World War II, much of Central Europe was collapsing under the relentless advance of Allied and Soviet armies, and societies that had endured years of total war were now fracturing under desperate shortages, shifting front lines, and widespread disorder. Amid the chaos and human tragedy, an unusual cultural and humanitarian crisis emerged involving one of Europe's most famous and fragile treasures, the Lipizzaner horse. The Lipizzaner breed, bred over centuries at the imperial stables, was renowned for its refined elegance, remarkable intelligence, and disciplined temperament, and it had become closely associated with the prestigious Spanish riding school in Vienna. For generations, these white stallions had been trained in the art of classical dressage, performing highly controlled balletic movements, airs above the ground, piaffes, and precise collected steps that turned each performance into a living symbol of European equestrian tradition, refinement, and aristocratic culture. As the war intensified and Allied bombing campaigns and ground offensives threatened cities, farms, and historic institutions, caretakers and military officers alike sought to protect valuable animals and cultural property by moving them away from vulnerable locations. During the conflict, many Lipizzaners and other valuable stud horses were displaced across occupied territories, secretly transported from their historic homes to remote or fortified sites in an effort to shelter them from bombing, looting, and the general breakdown of civil order. By early 1945, several hundred Lipizzaners had been gathered into a sizable concentration near Hostau, a rural area where they remained under German control and supervision. But as the war drew to a close and front lines collapsed, the situation around Hostau became increasingly precarious. German officers and local caretakers grew fearful that the advancing Soviet forces, known for ruthless reprisals and deep logistical shortages in the war's final months, might seize the horses as military spoils, requisition them for transport, or even slaughter them for food amid extreme scarcity. The possibility of the cherished white stallions being dispersed, abused, or killed touched a nerve beyond simple military calculation. The Lipizzaners represented cultural continuity, artistic heritage, and the living link between centuries of European equestrian practice. Determined to avert that fate, a small group of German cavalry officers and stud farm managers decided to take a risky step. They secretly reached out to the American forces occupying nearby areas for assistance. These messages had to traverse layers of wartime bureaucracy, language barriers, and mutual suspicions. But news of the plea eventually reached a figure whose personal identity and military reputation were uniquely suited to the cause. General George S. Patton,